Hi friends, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I have a new Flippy Flappy Folio tutorial for you today. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be making, and I had promised this one a while back, and because of life and everything happening, I'm just now getting to get the video out there to you guys. So this one has several fun pockets and some flips and flaps that make it really fun. So I hope you will stay with me while we try to put this one together. So I have most of the papers, I think, pre-cut and ready to go. I'm going to give you the measurements as we go, but one quick disclaimer. A lot of times when I do tutorials like this, occasionally I realize, oh wait, I just said the wrong measurement or something didn't fit quite right, and it does happen. I haven't pre-cut all of the pockets or all of the layers quite yet. And so what I want to encourage you to do is I'm going to have all the measurements for you in the description. So if you're going to craft along with me, awesome, but please double check that as well, because I don't want anybody to get frustrated as you go. And it's not a hard project, but you certainly do have quite a few pieces, and we'll have to do the construction and then the decorating. I am going to keep an eye on the time, and if after we construct the folio, I think it makes sense to break this into a part 2 for then decorating with the fun papers, then there may be a part 2 to this video, but that's to be determined. The papers I'm using, so I am going to use, and in fact, I left this over by my paper cutter. Where did I put all of my pieces? I hope you guys could hear me as I walked away for a second. We are going to be, you are going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock, okay? And this isn't super heavy duty. I'm using black. Depending on what papers you're using, you know, pick the scrapbook cardstock, scrapbook paper that you want to use, okay? But you need 2 pieces, and I'm going to tell you how to chop it up to turn it into this. And then you're going to want some kind of pretty pattern papers. I am using my Summer Elements digital paper kit. Yay! So that is available on Etsy. I'll have that linked for you below as well. And if you haven't already, there's also a freebie that coordinates with these papers, and it's this one. And it has a strip. A couple of them have repeated, but of the papers that are included in my Summer Elements kit, there's also a little ephemera kit that coordinates with the same patterns and colors as well. So if you haven't grabbed the freebie, there'll be a link for that as well. And currently, I think I have 3 freebies available, so go grab all of them. They're on Buy Me a Coffee, and I'll be adding more to that collection as I continue to dive into creating my own papers. So it's a new endeavor for me. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. And I just wanted to show you what it looked like in case you missed it. Okay, so I'm gonna set aside, these are all the little pieces cut up that I've prepped to make the video a little smoother, hopefully. But I'm going to set those aside because the first thing we're going to do is really just the construction. And then we'll start layering our pretty papers as we go. Okay? So I am going to use a wet white glue. I'm going to use art glitter today in a little precision bottle. You could also, if you want to use your favorite wet white glue, you could use 2-sided like score pal tape, something like this if you want to. I've got ribbons, I've got things flying everywhere. So, you know, get the adhesive of your choice and your cardstock, your 12 by 12 paper, and you're going to need something to score with, okay, because we are going to do some scoring. So I'm going to use my scoreboard, And if you don't have a scoreboard, just use a metal ruler and mark and do a straight edge and that kind of thing. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, again, tell you the paper that you need, how you need to cut your paper, but also refer to the description. So on your first 12 by 12 sheet of paper, you are going to cut it to leave it at 12 inches on one side and then cut an 8-inch piece, okay? Then with the 4 by 12 inch piece that you have left, what I want you to do is, so if you hadn't cut it yet, you would have, you cut it there to leave yourself 8 inches. So now you have a 12 by 4 inch piece. Cut that one in half. So now that you have 2 6 by 4 pieces, okay? 2 6 by 4s. All right, so that was one piece of 12 by 12 paper. Your next piece of 12 by 12 paper, you're going to do a few cuts. You're going to make yourself one piece that is 12 inches by 5 inches. Oh, 5.5. See, I just misspoke. 12 inches, 12 by 5.5. Okay, so cut it at 5.5. And then you are going to cut 2 pieces that will end up being 12 inches by 3. Okay. And then that means you just end up with a tiny little 1-inch sliver that you don't need for this project. It's actually a 1/2 inch, just a little tiny sliver. You can use that for something else or throw that away. Okay, so to review, one piece 12 by 8, one piece 12 by 5, 2 pieces that are 6 by 4, and 2 pieces that are 12 by 3, okay? That's 2 pieces of cardstock. All right, now we're gonna start our scoring. So on your piece that is 12 by 8, I want you to score it at 6 inches. So basically we're gonna just be folding this in half, and this is, whoops, score straight, Pam. This is going to be the main part of our folio. And again, see how that went all cattywampus on me? Even if you've scored, you still need to be careful and line everything up nice and neat and crease it, okay? So mine's still not straight, but I can fix it. It's not the end of the world. I don't have to throw this away. Just keep working on it until I get it nice and even. And I am desperately looking, there it is, for my bone folder, which will always help me. I've pretty much got it straightened up now. So don't do it the way I did it. Really pay attention before you start creasing, even though you've scored. All right, nice and even. Okay, the next piece you're gonna do is your 12 by 5.5 piece. That's this one. And we are gonna score it on the 12-inch side at 6 inches and at 9 inches. Double checking what I'm doing. 6 inches and 9 inches. And again, I'll have all of this for you in the description. All right, set that one aside. We'll fold it here in a minute. All right, now take your first 6 by 4 piece, and on the 6-inch side, you're gonna score at the 1/2 inch mark. Okay, this is just for one of them. So 1/2 inch on the 6-inch side. Okay, that's it. And then on this other 6 by 4 inch side, you're gonna score on the 4-inch side, okay, at 1/2 inch. All right, so now those two pieces have a 1/2 inch score, one on the 4-inch and one on the 6-inch. See the difference? Okay. Now we're going to take the 12 by 3-inch strips and we're going to score both of them at 4 inches. Okay, so there's one, and that's of course on the 12-inch side, and two. And I believe, unless I have forgotten something, we have done all of our scoring. So I'm going to put my scoreboard up for a minute. All right, now on all of these pieces that I've scored, and I know it's really hard to see black cardstock. I always, when I do a project with black cardstock and then I get a request to do the tutorial, I'm like, okay, and I know it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but all I'm doing is being careful when I'm making my creases on those score lines to make sure everything looks nice and even. Okay, and I'm just creasing them down well. All right. And I hope you guys can see okay. All right, now this one has 2 scores. So again, I'm just making sure before I really crease it down that all my edges are even. Okay, and like I said, this one is pretty simple once you get that construction going. Okay, now we're going to refer to our prototype. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add this first flap to the cover. Now, because we're layering with all the pretty papers, wherever we glue down these little flaps, you're going to then end up covering them up. So don't worry, you know, about seeing that little edge, or if maybe you get a little bit of glue in it, you can see it on that black cardstock, because all of that will get covered up. The only part of the black you see is the little bitty borders that I left. Okay. All right. So take your piece that's going to be the main part of your folio, and the first flap we're going to add is this one right here. So that is this piece. It's the 6 by 4 inch piece that we scored on that 4-inch side. And you're going to decide where you want it, like this. And I want it approximately in the center, and it's going to open just like that. So once I have it about where I want it, and I'm trying to center it for the most part, it doesn't matter if it's a little off. If you want it perfect, you can measure it, get your center point, you know, measure, line, mark it, line everything up. But I'm just going to do mine. I'm going to eyeball it. And again, I'm going to add glue now just to this flap. Not hard at all. And again, this is, again, if you wanted to use that 2-sided tape, you can. But anything to make sure it's really secure. Now, again, it's going to have a layer of paper over this and more. So I'm not too worried about it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to get sandwiched in. Okay. So now we have that first flap. Easy peasy. Okay. Now our next step is to do the other 6 by 4 inch piece, and it's going to flap out that way. So I'm going to grab it, and the way I did this one is, you know, I didn't lap it over. You start to kind of get a lot going on here, so I'm just going to glue it down, and I'm not going to quite center this one. I'm going to intentionally move it towards the top, but this one, we're going to add glue to this side of the flap, and it's going to glue down like that. Okay. So I'm not wrapping it around the cover. It's not the end of the world if you decide to wrap yours around the cover, but I'm going to do mine this way so I don't get quite as much bulk of paper on that front cover. All right, so again, add your glue, and this will also have some paper that will sandwich it in there. So it will be okay. All right, this one opens this way. I'm just making sure I've got it really pressed down. If you want to grab, you know, your bone folder and really burnish it well. Now we have this flap. Okay, so again, first flap and the second flap. Yay, fun, right? Okay, now let's do this flip out. Let's do that next. So you want to grab your 12, what was this? 12 by 5.5 inch piece. And I did it this way. So when you fold this one, if you want yours to open like mine, it's a kind of a zigzag fold. So fold it down, fold it back, and you're done. And we're going to glue this entire panel back here. Now, obviously, I could have made this just with a little tiny hinge like I did on these, but I kind of like giving this back of my folio just kind of more structure and more layers. So I just went ahead and left it big. I'm going to bring this one down towards the bottom a little bit to just kind of... really what I'm trying to do is align this edge kind of with this edge, so I can see it. I know you guys can't really, but you can. I'm trying to find my words, y'all. If you line this piece up kind of with the edge of this one, you'll approximately get it in the same spot. Okay? But you can put it down here. It really doesn't matter. You decide. I'm going to line mine up about with this top edge. Okay. And I'm going to, you might be able to see pencil on this. I'm going to be covering all of this up. So if I make a pencil mark, I don't know if you guys can see that now. You're not going to see it. It's going to get covered up. So that's what we'll do. All right, so adhesive or glue all on this back panel. Whoops, this is the glue I'm using today. Okay. So I'm going to get the edges nice. I'm going to definitely not go over the crease in the middle because then it won't fold up neatly. And this is going to create that flap. Again, this will have layers sandwiched on top of it. So, you know, you want to get it in here nice and neat, but don't worry too much. So again, I'm not going all the way to that crease, making sure I have it straight. And I'm going to press down. Now, it does hang over just a little bit, and you don't really even notice it because of the black cardstock, but you can see even my original one, it hangs over just a touch. Okay. And I'm just going to make sure that's nice and smooth. All right. So now we have that flippy fold flap. Now we're going to make this gate fold. And this is using these two pieces. And this one, I am going to glue to the back of the folio. We're going to leave these so they open up like that. And there's a little tiny gap in there. And again, that was by design. If you don't want the gap, you could have scored yours at a different place. Now, the big thing on this one is going to be getting these nice and straight. So decide which one you're going to work with first. This is going to get covered up on the back. And again, I cut these intentionally just to give even more structure to my folio. So, hoping I'm staying on camera. I do want this pretty close to the center. It looks good to me. I have it pulled all the way up so it's nice and snug here. And I'm going to add adhesive all to this panel right here. Okay. So the big thing is, even though I had it all nice and neat, and then I wiggled it to try to be in camera, we'll line it back up really well before I stick this down. Again, do your adhesive, do your tape, whatever, but no, you're also going to sandwich some paper. You're going to be sandwiching some paper over top of this, so it's not that big of a deal. All right, I want it centered, approximately centered, nice and straight. Pull it back and glue it down. Now, the next one, even though, like I said, I want them centered, I really want to make sure that it lines up. I think I've got mine turned upside down. And the easiest way to do that is just line it up with the piece you've already glued down. Like, don't worry about the center, because I may not have been exactly on the center, but I know if I line it up with the piece that's glued down, and again, this is all black, so it's hard to see. I'm going to draw a pencil line for you guys to see if that helps. And then I know I've got it nice and straight, okay? So we're just going to be adding adhesive to this panel. And if I wasn't on camera, I would have done this a little bit differently, but I'm trying to do this so you guys can see. So get your adhesive on there good. La, la, la. Okay. I'm just gonna make a slight adjustment as I go to make sure it's nice and straight. All right. It's not hard, just a touch fiddly, right? Okay, let's see how we did. Goes this way. Yeah, it looks great. And once we get all those pretty papers on here, it is going to be magnificent. So you've got this one to open it up. This one flaps out. This one flaps that way. And then you have these two. This is a really easy one. Now, the designer paper is where we're going to add the extra pockets. Get little pockets here. Depending on how we glue these down, we can even, like, instead of gluing it all the way down, I could have left that open and we could have made some extra pockets. So we'll see what we do. We will see how we do as we go. So I also decorated this one using my Vintage Family Photos paper kit, and that's also available if you guys are interested in using something like that for yours. But you certainly could decorate these any which way and with any papers you have. I also added the twine and the vintage buttons. So I think, even though it hasn't even been quite half an hour, just to make this a little bit easier on my computer to get it uploaded to YouTube, I'm going to stop here. We've done the basic construction, and then in a few minutes, I'm going to film the rest of it, and then I'll get these up for you guys. I'll probably go ahead and post the basic construction one so you guys can work on that. And then in a day or two, I will have the decorating one up for you with all the measurements you need for your designer paper. Okay, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this one and if you plan to make one. And give me that thumbs up and leave me a comment. I super appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.